Hi, and welcome to another episode of Real PR. Today with me, Lauren Roberts. I've got a guest today who I've known for just over a year. We met through networking, and I'm going to let Paula introduce herself. So over to you, Paula.
Thanks, Lauren. I'm Paula Harsley. I'm a wordsmith. I specialise in bringing internal and external business communications to life, working with business owners and bringing their passion to the fore in any form of communication.
Yeah, tell me about how you got into this and set up your own business.
Yes, I set up nearly 2 years ago now, actually, and I was working for 36 years before I set up my own business. It's taken me a while, but no, I've been latterly working with fairly fresh businesses, small, medium enterprises, and found that a lot of them, their websites were really poor. They didn't have big budgets to have marketing companies. And it was just little tweaks that they needed to make for, I saw their websites mainly, but other communications as well, flyers, and, they'd have spelling mistakes and simple things that could be rectified. And I worked for the Swindon and Wiltshire Growth Hub and was asking clients that, if somebody was available at a reasonable cost, would you use them? And they were, oh, yes, absolutely. But, marketing companies can be very expensive. So I just had it in the back of my mind that would be something that I could do to help. I've not looked back since doing it. Yeah.
What were you doing at that time? You obviously weren't doing writing for them at that point. What were you doing for those companies?
For the Swindon Wiltshire Growth Hub, I was one of their business navigators, but I joined them during COVID. So it was not in person for over a year. I didn't meet any of my teammates. And I was in charge of hosting the webinars that they ran with business experts from the area. And so I got to know an awful lot of businesses without really getting to know them because I'd never actually met them. But I also learned a lot about running a business. And we used to say, survive through COVID and thrive beyond it. Giving business advice following up from that. That's when I was talking to them about, your website needs a bit of improvement. But if you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're doing.
No.
So they just needed somebody to help them, which is what the Growth Hub did. But after 3 years of working for the Growth Hub, sort of 12-month contracts, it was public funding, it was going to change. And I thought, if I don't do this now, I'll never do it. And I'll regret the fact that I never did it. So I've always loved writing. And since starting with the Growth Hub, they asked me to write a magazine article for them, which was a 1,500-word article every couple of months. And I wanted to promote the Growth Hub and the benefit that it gave to other businesses. So they weren't doing that at the time. And they didn't really have anyone that could do that sort of article. So they said, give it a go. So I wrote the 1,500-word article and they said it was quite good and it got published. And then 2 months later, right, what are you doing this time then, Paula? So it became my unofficial job and I really, really enjoyed it. And when you're going to start your own business, if you can, you want to start a business that you really enjoy. And I've always loved words. So, it was sort of a natural progression, really.
Yeah, it's something that I found is quite common actually talking to people is that after COVID, they've realised that now is the time, if I'm ever going to do it, to jump and start my own business. And it, like you say, it's got to be something you enjoy. Yeah. Otherwise, working for yourself, that's
it's hard because it can be lonely. And I also wanted the flexibility. My daughter was found out that she was pregnant. And so I knew I was going to have a grandson that I was going to look after one day a week. So I can work my work around that, which is just fantastic.
Yeah. Talk to me about networking. So obviously that's how we met. We met through Buzz.
Yeah.
And what part that plays in your business.
So far, that is where all my work has come from. Either my existing network, which I have to say after 37 years was quite large. New networking contacts as well. I've made some really good business friends and colleagues, and like yourself, just making friends with people that are like-minded, have the same sort of attributes as me. I've not done marketing per se. I've certainly not done any paid advertising, but it's just talking to people. So, it's great. I love it.
And what would you say to people that are maybe a little bit apprehensive about starting something like networking?
I can understand people being a bit cautious. There's different types of networking events. I mean, you helped me run the Buzz in Chippenham. That's a very informal network. But I'm also a member of a networking group, which is more formal, more structured. There are presentations. Every week we do a 60-second pitch of our business, which even that word can put some people off, can't it? Think of Dragon's Den and that sort of thing. But it's not. It's just literally a minute of just saying about your business and what you do, and learning from each other. But networking is not the same for everybody. But Buzz is really just a cup of tea and a chat with different people, and you can give as much or take as much as you want from it. And then there's the structured ones, as I say, which are actually also beneficial. And some you're encouraged to give referrals. Others you're not encouraged so much to give to referrals. But at the end of the day, if I meet somebody and they need a particular product or service, and I've met somebody that does that in networking and I liked them, then I'm going to introduce them. So networking is not about just getting business for yourself. It's about giving to other people as well.
Absolutely. And I think something that I've learned from it, that I think I was quite scared to start. I just said yes and chucked myself in the deep end, but it's been brilliant because, like you say, I would say the way that we do it with Buzz, there's not so much pressure to stand there and sell yourself to somebody. And working for yourself, I think sales was a part that I didn't anticipate was actually going to be something that I'd need to do. I'd need to learn how to do. What sort of experience have you had from the past of where you were working before to bring forward into running your own business?
I had formal sales training years and years and years ago. I would say I never really took to selling in that way. I've always been, I describe it as relationship selling. I'm nosy. Basically, I'm nosy. I want to know all about you. And that's why it was NatWest that I was working for at the time. And they were beginning to get into the sales side of things. Previous to that, it was just worked in the bank and you just did what you were told, But suddenly, no, we had to sell things. And a lot of my colleagues didn't like that idea at all. But I was just, having a natter. And, so you're going on holiday? Oh, where are you going? Oh, you're going abroad. Oh, you'll need some travel insurance. You'll need some currency. Because back in the day, you could get currency direct from your branch and we got commission for that. It was just normal. And, I noticed you've got a nice balance there. Did you know that you could have another type of account that would pay you more interest? And that sort of thing. And now that's more normal. But back then it wasn't. But it was only because I was asking questions that I would then be able to sort of link the two rather than just selling. Did you know we've got a product that does this? And it's only worthwhile if you've got the money to put in that savings account, for example. So, hard selling is not my cup of tea at all.
No, I struggle with it. And I like that I'm nosy like you as well. And I love that about going out and meeting new people. You can just have a chat. You don't need to stand there and tell them all the things that you do and that you can do for them. No, absolutely. So in terms of the writing that you do for people, I'm a storyteller, and you're a story. We sort of tell stories, I think, in slightly different ways.
Yes.
What are the kind of things that you most enjoy writing about? What sort of sparks that light inside of you when you're writing?
I think I enjoy getting to know the person so that I can become nosy and just asking them the questions and putting myself in their customer's shoes, because that's what I do. I write for the customer. There's no good if I'm talking to an IT company and just talking IT language, because nobody else understands it apart from the IT people. So it's translating whatever that tech speak is, and it could be accountancy, it could be a product, it could be whatever it is. It's translating it into the language of the customer. And that could be another business or it could be an individual. But it doesn't really matter. And it's also getting my client to think about what they actually need to be told and who they're telling it to, because many of my clients don't actually know who their customers are, which, I find quite strange. So I'm almost giving business advice as much as I am doing the communication, because I'm going, so what's your most profitable product or service? Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Well, that's the one we really need to be going for. And who are the types of people that are going to buy this product or service? Oh yeah, that's a good idea, isn't it? So- and then it's communicating that. And you asked about what my preference is. I guess my preference is more for sort of the longer form, the sort of 500 word blog type articles. I love a website rewrite, a revamp. You know, I will just sort of tweak and things if people want me to, but a complete rewrite is just fantastic. Going from a not very good copy website to one that talks to the end user is something that I really enjoy doing. But I also like doing, you know, social media with heart. I don't do automation. I'll respond to comments. People offer personal service, so their social media should be personal as well. But so many people are like tagged and mentioned by people that are recommending them, and they don't do anything with it. You know, say thank you to the person that actually did that. You know, just common courtesy, really. But yeah, so. Does that answer your question?
It does, yeah, absolutely. And you sort of touched on something else there that I think is really relevant at the moment, especially in the world that we're in and in the world of media, is AI. And like you say, you want to put a message across. What did you call it? Something with a heart.
Social media
with heart.
Because I have one. I'm not a machine.
No, and I think it's quite recognisable sometimes, isn't it? Do you think it has a place?
Oh, it does. It does. And it's like a lot of these things. It will become more and more used and it will get better. But at the moment, it takes a lot of time to get it to be like you or like a person. You know, I believe it's so important to get the tone of voice right. How you talk to people is how your writing should come across. And, you know, the Americanisms, the spellings, it's looking back at stuff, the accuracy. You've really got to use the prompts for ChatGPT and the other AI tools out there. And, you know, it does take a long time. And people are telling me they don't have time to write a social media post. So they certainly haven't got time to tell AI how to talk, what, you know, and this sort of thing. So, I mean, I have used it in the past, not for my clients, but for me. And I just thought, well, I'll ask it to do something on networking. And I came back with a half decent, you know, how to think about networking, and, you know, don't stand in the corner and just ask somebody that, you know, looks a bit timid because they're probably feeling like you are, and those sorts of things, top tips. But I've also done it for articles when I was working elsewhere, and asking who the chair was of a particular committee. And it came back with 4 people that I categorically know were not chair. One of them definitely not. And I can't remember the name. It came up with Simon Smith. But the photograph of Simon Smith I knew was incorrect because it was of King Charles III. So, you know, don't trust everything that comes out of AI.
No, absolutely not. I think, like you say, it has its place in certain things, but people can notice it a mile off. And that rocket emoji, I can tell when someone's used that for a social media post because nobody uses rockets.
Did you see my face then? You what?
Oh, the rocket, the rocket
What is
emoji.
the rocket emoji?
It's an emoji that it likes to chuck out in lots of social media posts, so you can see it quite a bit.
Okay. I'll look out for that.
For us, sort of, you know, when I'm writing press releases predominantly, if you read something that's been written by it, I think, like you say, it sort of stands out a little bit at the moment. And you can tell when a human hasn't written that. It's just not got the same heart.
No,
it's not got the same heart.
It's that empathy, it's that feeling. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Stands out as quite a big mistake, I think, that you can make. What is the biggest mistake that you've come across on sort of somebody's communications? I'm a bit intrigued now about the things that you've seen. You don't have to obviously name anyone who made the mistake, but
I think there's some general ones which acronyms really do my head in. I was talking with an IT provider the other day, and they were talking MSP. And there will be some people that know what MSP means, but they were doing a presentation and there was a mixture of people in the room, and I could see that an awful lot of people didn't have a clue what they were talking about. And it's managed service provision. But if you don't know that, and it's like when you write, you should always use the full words to start with, and then brackets MSP, and then thereafter you can write MSP. But there's a danger that if somebody is skim reading and they're only reading, say, the last half of it, actually you've lost that because they haven't read the first one. So that's a danger. I don't like that. And just, you know, technical language in general, really. because will your audience understand it? And what I usually ask people is, who is writing the check? Who's going to actually agree this project? Because you might be talking to somebody that understands what you're talking about, but they then pass it on to the person that's going to agree the contract. And if they don't understand what you've written, you may not get the contract.
No.
So it depends how much strength will the person that you were talking to's got. And sometimes they've got a lot of influence and sometimes they haven't. So, that's important, I think.
Yeah.
And obviously the spelling and using miswords, to, T-O,
Two and two.
T-O-O and T-W-O, your and your, and there's lots of them.
Yeah.
But
They're there
they
and
really
there.
annoy me. Yes.
They're there.
Yeah.
Brilliant. I want to put my PR hat on a little bit now and talk about sort of the ways that you're marketing and things like that. I think the networking is a big one that people maybe underestimate as a form of PR and getting themselves out there and visibility. You're also a radio host on a segment on Bath Radio. Talk me through how that came about.
That was, I wouldn't really say it was networking. It was a charity event in Bath, and it just happened that I sat next to two lovely ladies. The lady that I was going with unfortunately couldn't make it, so I was on my own. So two lovely ladies next to me. I started chatting because that's what I do.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the event and that there wasn't a raffle. And, maybe we should try next year to help them and maybe do the raffle. And this lady sort of said, oh, well, my friend will be able to do that because she works at Radio Bath. And I went, oh, do you? Tell me more, blah, blah. So we were chatting about it. And I sort of said, well, if ever you need a guest, I can talk about most things. Give me a shout. So literally the following week, she said, well, you're launching Buzz. Why don't you come along and promote Buzz? So I did. And one of the founders of Radio Bath was listening, and she very kindly said, oh, you've got a lovely voice for radio. And I went, oh, I bet you say that to everybody. But I said, well, if ever you need a business show, let me know. It'll be relatively sort of lighthearted. It's not heavy. Excuse me. And so the following week, Robbie, the presenter, and Steve Fountain, who set up Radio Bath originally about 6 years ago, I think now, said, yeah, would you do the show? So I started off with Robbie in her show, Drive Time. And from February this year, I've been doing it on my own and running the desk, which is a bit scary, but yeah. So yeah, Business Matters, we just take a topic and I'll have a guest and I'll just talk to them. So today was talking about culture. Next month, we're talking to Georgina Woodman from Moges Druitt, and she's the first non-legal partner of the firm. So that's very progressive because, legal firms are quite sort of, some of them are stuck back in the past, are very traditional, very male dominated. So we're going to be investigating all of that next time. So it's hopefully something that people can listen to and appreciate, even if they're never going to set up their own business. So you don't necessarily need to understand business to listen to Business Matters.
No.
But no, it's good fun, and I get to talk to people that know about different areas of business. So it's really really good fun.
And putting your name out there at the same time.
Absolutely, and it's communication because.
And it's come from just a conversation that you've just had. Yeah. And then this opportunity's just presented itself. Yeah.
I mean, the charity event, there were a lot of business people there.
Yeah.
And it was through networking that I got to hear about it, because it was called Strength in Style, which was raising awareness of We Get It, which is a cancer charity, and also the Southwest Children's Hospice charity. But one of the guys that was doing the branding for We Get It, I had on a webinar for the Growth Hub during the COVID period. So I got to know him, and he sort of said, oh, are you coming along to the Strength in Style? So, it's all linked. Yeah. And this is what I love about networking, because it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned there about sort of the charity aspect of it. I know that you do some bits with Wiltshire and Bath Air Ambulance.
I do, yeah. I'm a proud member of the business club that they run. And, it's physically just down the road from where I live.
Yeah.
But I've always supported them. The village that I live in, the group of mums, we all sort of got together from a mum and toddler group sort of staged through to when our kids, still do meet up regularly, even though the kids have all left home. But we used to do the big breakfast at the village hall, and we raised money, and one of the charities one year was the Wiltshire Air Ambulance, as it was then. And we took a check over, and the kids all got to see the helicopter, and it was all very exciting. So, a couple of people in the village have had, heart attacks and things, and the ambulance has been, the air ambulance has landed, and if it wasn't for that, they would have died. So, and I know a lady in Corsham knocked off her bike, she had a brain injury, and she's phenomenal. And she says every day she thanks the Wiltshire and Bath Air Ambulance, because if it wasn't for them, she wouldn't be here to look after her children. Yeah,
absolutely. And it's really important. I think being involved in something like that is just a way of being able to give back, isn't it? Like you say,
it's the charity that you hope you'll never have to use.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. You've got such a way of wording things, Siege. And I think you've listening to the sort of businesses that you work with and what you've done before, you've become sort of like an expert, a mini expert in sort of different industries and things. Does that help with the way that you're helping people word things for their businesses?
I think it does, but because I joke that I'm nosy, but I'm just interested in a lot of things. So I did work for a company that has invented a way of jointing plastic piping, which is not the most sexy thing in the world, but it was so interesting and fascinating, and I just wanted to know more and why. And so how does it do it now, and what's different, and why is your bit so good? I mean, I needed to know that to be able to write about it, but I wanted to know anyway because it was really interesting. And other companies, flooring is not, again, it's not a sexy subject, but so why do you use that and not that, and what's the benefit of doing this? So it helps with what I'm writing, and it's things that they just take for granted and they don't realise they need to tell people. So I think it is because I'm just interested in things which other people find boring.
But you bring it to life, you make it exciting.
Indeed, yes.
Something that I think, me and Fiona have mentioned it a couple of times, we're great at helping other people with telling their stories and their PR and writing for them. Something that we struggle with maybe a little bit is doing that for ourselves. Visibility-wise, what are you doing for yourself to make yourself out visible and out there?
Yes, same as you. Yeah, it's a struggle. I do posts on LinkedIn. I'm not one of these. I don't want to read regularly about other people. So I do think sometimes, there are posts out there for posts' sake. I'm a member of an online networking group, and they post about 3 or 4 times a day. And I know that with the algorithms and things, not everyone's going to see every single post, but it's just constant, and it's just too much. So the fact that I don't post every day, I don't beat myself up about it.
No.
And the people that I work with doing social media, I don't post every day for them either. And I agree with them up front. And if they want to do that, or they want, many, many more posts, I'm not the person to work with. So it's, to be personal, you've got to be personal. Sending out post after post after post just doesn't work, in my opinion.
No.
So, but yeah, LinkedIn is really where I do most of my social media, and obviously, the radio program helps, and networking, just getting out there. Got the little banner, and help out where I can.
Absolutely.
And commenting on other people's posts, just so that your name gets out there. It's amazing when I've commented on people's posts, suddenly, you get the notification that somebody's looked at your profile, you know, and you think, oh, and so-and-so's followed you. And I'm thinking, I don't know this so-and-so, who are they? And then I've realised that, so they also commented on that post that I commented on. So
I didn't quite realise the power of that until I did. I had a course with somebody who taught me sort of through LinkedIn, making sure that my profile was set up properly. And yeah, the impact that can have.
You didn't do that with me, Lauren.
I didn't know you then.
I'll let you off.
I didn't know you then. But yeah, I didn't know quite the impact of that, and then the connections that you can make on from that, and the benefits of second and third and fourth connections and things like that. For somebody maybe that's starting out in business, or maybe they're looking at their website right now thinking, that maybe could do with a little bit of help.
Absolutely,
what piece of advice would you give to somebody in terms of their new business and making sure that they're visibly right out there for people?
Yeah, I think people have this big thing about, I've got to have a website. I agree with that, but it doesn't have to be all singing and dancing. It doesn't need to cost thousands to do. Initially, you just really want 1 page, maybe 2 pages if you must, but just have something with a half decent photograph and some good copy, obviously. And if you are writing blogs, it's good to have blogs, definitely. But green content, which is new, fresh content, is helpful with the Google searches. So many people start blogs when they're quiet and they haven't sort of taken off yet.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when they started in 2019 or whenever it was. And they're still up there and they haven't done any since. So whatever you can do, just take the dates down. As long as they're still relevant, they can stay up there. You know, having old blogs up there is not a problem if they're still correct, but don't have the dates being so out of date. And, you know, you can see it. They start off, there's a January, February, March, and then there might be a November.
Yeah.
And there might be the following March, and then there's been nothing for 2 years. So if you haven't got the dates on, nobody knows when you actually posted it.
That's a good little piece of advice.
But yeah, and I said it earlier, but who's your most profitable type of client? Identify those clients and talk to them. And you may not know that to start with. But again, just changing odd little bits on your website on a regular basis gets Google to think, oh, that's good. They're keeping their website up to date, and helps you be at the nearer the top. I wouldn't say it would get you to the top, but it's certainly going to help with your visibility on Google.
Lovely job. I've really loved talking to you today. I know that we could just sit and talk and that for ages.
Yeah.
And we will have our chance to catch up next month at the next Buzz.
At Buzz, indeed.
Where can people find you if they want to have a look into what you do and get to know you a bit better?
You can look at my website, which is www.paulaharsley.com. LinkedIn profile is Paula Harsley. I don't have a business page because I am the business, so I thought I'm not sure I really need a business page. I do have a Facebook page, but which is Paula Harsley Wordsmith, but I don't use it. It is there for visibility if people are looking on Facebook, but everything directs to my website, really.
Looking to find you. Brilliant. Thank you. That was another episode of Real PR today with me, Lauren Roberts. It's been great talking to Paula today. If you want to know more about us, you can find us at scottmedia.uk, or I'm on LinkedIn, Lauren Roberts. See you again.